Morning, everybody. How are you? Welcome back to the Spurs Talk Show. I am Sean Butler. There's Bugsy Malone, doing the things that Bugsies do, chasing squirrels and what not. I hope you're all happy and healthy doing the things you love, with those that you love doing them with. Please do me a favour, as you always do. But it's really important you keep doing it for me. If you enjoy the content, please hit the like button. If you haven't already, and even if you have, check that you still are, hit the subscribe button for me. Shenanigans are afoot. Hit the notification bell and drop a comment. Let me know your thoughts on today's topic. Guys, it's the morning after the evening before Tottenham 4-1 winners against Newcastle. I'm not sure anybody really saw that coming. Quite as convincing a performance where everything kind of ticked, everything come together. High octane, incredibly fast-paced, direct, intrusive football that Newcastle United couldn't cope with. They couldn't handle us. I know they've got their injuries, we've got ours too, so maybe on a different day, full strength versus full strength, maybe it wouldn't be quite as one-sided, but it was a domination. It was a devastation. Those Newcastle United fans that travelled a long way to get to Tottenham in the bad weather, going home with their tail between their legs. It was incredible. Everything came together the way it was supposed to. In recent weeks, we've gone through a bit of a rigmarole of scenarios that have played out in each individual game where we've either played well, created good football but haven't taken our chances, like in the game against Aston Villa. We've either started well and fallen off, like in the game at Wolves, and really didn't get anything going at all. We either played well in terms of possession but didn't create anything of note really, like we did against West Ham, or we had moments of madness and misfortune like in the Chelsea game. In the City game, we were facing a barrage of opportunities against us and they didn't take their chances, but we took ours. The few that came our way we took, and we went toe to toe with them. Yesterday it was one-sided. It was men against boys. It was excellent football with loads of possession that had a determination and a desire and a grit and a grind about it that was just the best football that I've seen. I mean, Aston Villa first half was also equally excellent football, but this stuff had the conversion, it had the follow through, it wasn't just foreplay. You got to home base, and it was exactly what Angeball was supposed to be. And it wasn't just Angeball in the output, the style of football, the traditional Celtic methodology of FIFA settings, getting the ball to the wide men at some point in the move, driving to the byline, having direct players who can take men on, getting to the byline and pulling it back into the danger zone, knowing that there should be a number 9 somewhere near the 6-yard box, a number 10 somewhere near the edge of the area, one of the number 8s scattered around the penalty area, sort of in a general mode, broadly speaking, and also one or if not 2 fullbacks hanging around, loitering, looking for opportunities as well. It was everything it was supposed to be, and it was wonderful to experience. I'm really sorry I didn't end up getting up to the game in time, but I spent most of the afternoon with Henry Wright and with you guys over 3 different streams, I think we did in the end. And it just shows you that Tottenham are a match. When everything clicks, we are capable of playing the best football that also can convert and can take teams and put them to the sword. Just amazing stuff. The fans look like they absolutely loved it and appreciated it. I've seen the comments from players like Pedro Porro on Twitter saying, "This is what you deserved. What a performance. We're back." Ange Postecoglou acknowledging that he didn't want to kind of talk about and make excuses for why we've sort of struggled a little bit over the last month with regards injuries, but he acknowledged that it has hurt his boys, just like Eddie Howe's going through similar things. I think you have to shake hands with it and recognise that you can ask the same squad to put together the same level of effort, but sometimes you have to just acknowledge the deficits that you have in key areas. People like Mickey van der Ven, people like James Maddison, people like Bentancur. I've been saying it more than I think it's been mentioned. I think that Perisic was such a massive miss for us most of the season because of his cadence, his ability to do that step over that's unpredictable, not knowing whether he's going to dart right, dart left, come up or get to the byline. Having that ability is what makes Angeball work. That's the methodology a lot of the time, and when it's on, it's unplayable. It really is. Now, with that methodology comes, the absence of being able to necessarily cover every single blade of grass defensively and offensively at the same time. You don't have 15 players on the pitch. And so, like we've been talking about, the philosophy has always been with Ange that you're going to encourage risk-taking, and that occasionally you're going to get picked off and occasionally you're going to concede, but the ratios of opportunities faced versus threats faced should be in your favour, and so it comes down to who takes their chances and who has a higher conversion rate. And look, yesterday we could have gone 1-0 down, and if we had have done, it would have been a different game entirely. 0-0, Newcastle United break, Anthony Gordon charges down the left-hand side. I think it was Anthony Gordon. And Ben Davies, of all people, who gets a lot of criticism from a lot of people in the community, was sensational. Not only is he sprinting for all that he's worth, but he's also paying attention to what Gordon's doing, and also what I think it was Isaac is doing to his right. He's shadow covering him. Again, a FIFA setting. It sounds like we're playing real life FIFA here. But he's blocking the path from a direct pass whilst running as fast as his legs will allow him to go, and manages to time his slide tackle to absolute perfection and gets a toe poke on it. And if he's an inch too soon on that, it might hit the inside of his foot and go in for an own goal. If he's an inch too late, he misses it altogether and it's an easy tap in for the Newcastle striker. But he gets it absolutely perfect. And you might say, oh, it's a little bit of luck, but I actually think when you watch it back, he's looking left and right, he's examining the situation, and I think it was just absolute pure excellence from a very experienced, seasoned player who, look, we know his ceiling isn't as high as people like Mickey van der Ven's, but that was I think Henry said it in the stream, it's as good as a goal, that moment, because if we concede there, we absolutely face a different threat where Newcastle could then sit in and protect the lead and do what maybe David Moyes and what Unai Emery did better, which is get out of trouble, get a goal, nick a goal, and then sit in and frustrate the life out of Tottenham. So well done to Ben Davies. It wasn't just in that moment. I thought he was spectacular throughout the game. Aerially, I thought he dealt with everything. His positional play was just on point. He was like a man possessed last night. I'm not sure how I feel about his playing partner, Christian Romero. It was still 0-0, slightly just after that Ben Davies slide tackle. He gets up from a corner, I think, and almost scores his second goal in a couple of games. A wonderful header, cleared off the line. And you're thinking, oh, Christian Romero's back, he's calmed down, and he's suddenly offering us opportunities. And had he scored that, he would have been, I think, our third highest goal scorer this season. But it doesn't happen. And I think he played generally quite well throughout the game, but I think you have to have a conversation. I think you genuinely have to have a conversation about how much risk is too much risk. Is the risk-reward balance correct with his aggressive nature? And I'm not sure you're ever going to train it out of him. I'm not sure you should try to, because that is the player he is. He sits on the line. He plays on edge. But ultimately, he could have got a red card yesterday. And if I'm entirely honest, he escaped a booking in the first half that was a clear yellow in my eyes. And so even in the second half, when he got the yellow, which could have been a red, that in and of itself should have been a second yellow for me. And we should have been down to 10 men. And depending on the severity of whether it was a red card or not, I think he would have missed 3 or 4 games. And we just got him back. And he was his absence was so meaningful. I just don't know why he needs to always not consider the ramifications, the consequences of his actions. I think we were 4-0 up at the time. There was absolutely no need to go in as a rash challenge. And as I say, we got away with one there. But I don't know how much longer we're going to keep getting away with them, because he's got a reputation. Everyone thinks of him now as a lunatic. And if he does it again, he'll be off again. And then we'll be without him again. And we've still got a long way to go before we get Mickey van der Ven back. We've still got a long way to go before we can even get to the January window and look to buy players. Now, I'd love to ask you guys, how do you feel about Christian Romero? Is he a player that we would be better off selling, getting good money for him, and then replacing him with someone who's, got almost as much talent as he does, but a little bit of a calmer head? Or are you willing to sort of suck it up and bear it and take the good with the bad, the bitter with the better when it comes to Romero? It's a question I'll be asking Dave later on our new show format called 10 Minute Tottenham. I'm not entirely sure how I feel about it right now, but I think that there's a conversation that has to happen. He's a great player. He's got an absolutely unbelievable pass. 2 or 3 of the moves where we created opportunities last night started with him fizzing a ball in hard and direct from his centre-back spot into the midfield that allowed us to move and turn and create. So you're not just potentially sacrificing here a wonderful defender who, when he's calm and measured, is up there with the very best. But in terms of a ball-playing centre-back, there's not too many better than him in the Premier League. I think I err on the side of tolerate it, but know that you need to go and get not just the left-sided centre-back in January, but at some point you'll need to go and get a level up on the right side as well, because there will be occasions where he will lose his marbles, he'll get sent off, and in those scenarios you need to have someone who can step in the next game at least and cover for him, and I don't think we have that right now. Moving on, guys, Pedro Porro and Udogie, for me, the best 2 fullback partnerships playing right now in the Premier League. Pedro Porro was just unbelievable yesterday. Not just his long ball that led to Richarlison's second goal, his ability to get forward, his passion, his determination, his grit. You can see how much he loves the competitive edge on his face. He wears his emotions, and when he's on, he's unbelievable at playing in this aggressive format. Now again, you have to call it out for the moment when, in the first 5 or 6 minutes, when Newcastle had the chance to break away, it was down his side. He wasn't sure whether to step up or pull back. He tried to step forward, realised he would have missed it, but by then the ball was over the top. As I say, we're an inch away from going 1-0 down, different game. But once again, people will blame him rather than accepting, and I've said this phrase a few times now, the reality is you shouldn't ask people to play with fire and get angry when they get burned. Postecoglou is asking these 2 fullbacks to get forward, to commit, to forget what's behind and move and join the attack. And it doesn't necessarily take a mistake from him for the ball to then be put over the top in the space that he's vacated, and it looked like he'd be responsible for an opportunity that we've given up. It could just be a misplaced pass from anywhere, from anyone, or a piece of wonderful interception play from the opposition, and that's what happened in the Newcastle game. But he was fantastic, absolutely fantastic with the ball at his feet, absolutely sensational, and for the most part kept Anthony Gordon quiet during the game. When they did have their moments, he was there and got back and covered well. He's deceptively good in the air. I noticed this when I was away at the Wolves game. I never thought he was, but actually in the Wolves game he won everything in the air, and he won a couple of things last night as well. Destiny Udogie, I mean, what more can you say? His goal started with a ping from Pedro Porro across the kind of the middle of the Newcastle half, just at the start of their final third, pinged across into Udogie's feet, who finds Sonny and continues that mazy dribble into the delayed run into the penalty area. Meanwhile, Sonny's out there taking on and making Kieran Trippier look like a schoolboy. And Trippier is one of the best right-backs in the Premier League. I've never seen him look so amateur as Sonny did last night. Sonny was a man possessed. I'm going to move forward to talk about him, because I think we have to now figure out as a team here, as a community, what do we want to see from Sonny? He's the best winger we have at the moment, best at doing what we need wingers to do for this system, but he's also the best forward we have, the best number 9 we have. He's the best everything up the top end of the pitch, and I'm concerned a little bit that we're running him into the ground. I know it's only one game a week, but you can see how in absolute agony he is at the end of every game. But 2 assists and a goal last night, man of the match performance, and rightly so. As much as I thought Ben Davies was spectacular, I think you do give the man of the match to the guy at the top end who creates the goals or scores them. But I think the experiment of putting him out on the left-hand side for the first time, I think that probably caught Newcastle unaware. They weren't expecting that. I think they were expecting Richarlison on the left, Sonny in the 9. But that's not what they went with, and it was spectacular. It was also spectacular to see Richie get a couple of goals. Boy, did he need them. You know, the relief on his face. You know, they weren't the best finishes or the most difficult. I thought his first goal was obviously just a tap in, but right place, right time. You've got to be that fox in the box. And when you know that you've got the plan of action to do what Angeball's supposed to do, then that's exactly what you need to see. You need to see him getting into that area. But I've also thought his work rate off the ball last night was spectacular. He was playing that sacrificial lamb, that Kyogi for a Hashi roll, drawing players out, just, you know, pressing the life out of the back four, winning the ball back high up the pitch. A real team mate's performance, a real effort, and rightly rewarded with 2 goals. Fantastic for him, fantastic for his confidence, and fantastic for Tottenham to be able to now think maybe we can get a little bit more from him. Personally, for me, I still don't think he's the right man for Tottenham. I don't think he's the right guy for the job. I think he battles demons in his head too much and can't get out of his own way. And one brace doesn't change that for me, but I'm delighted for him nonetheless. And if it helps us maybe move him on in January to make room in the budget for someone that I have more confidence in the ability of going forward, then I'm still all for it. But congratulations to him. Decky in the 10. I mean, is there an argument anymore around where the best place for him to play is? He was unbelievable. His driving runs, the strength he shows, his fluidity. He was all over the park last night. In the first 15 minutes, I couldn't figure out whether he was actually playing on the left-hand side or whether he was playing in the 10 or in the second 8 or what was going on. He was everywhere. I'd love to see how much ground he covered yesterday, because I'd be surprised if it wasn't the most on the pitch. He was absolutely everywhere, running tirelessly, didn't really place a pass wrong, and he just looks free in that role rather than cooped up on the right-hand side up against the touchline trying to create width. I just don't think we're using him in the right place when we put him out there. And I think that yesterday, on top of the Aston Villa performance, on top of the West Ham performance, that is where he is right to be. And what happens when Maddison gets back, that's a conversation we'll have. We'll cross that bridge when we come to it. But for now, I think the argument should be settled that he plays in the 10. On the right-hand side, Brennan Johnson looks twice the player than he does on the left. He looks like he's got more energy. He looks like he enjoys it more. He was very unlucky. He hit the post twice last night. One of them grazed the post, and the other one slammed into the stanchion. I'm not sure either of them were shots, or maybe the first one was, but the second one, it looked like it bobbled up a little bit just before he went to cross it in, and that's why it flew into the stanchion. But a really solid performance from him on the right. I don't like him on the left, but I do like him on the right. And you know what? He's supported by, and I think the biggest difference, and the player I haven't spoken about yet, is the return of Pape Matar Sarr. When he's on the pitch, everybody seems to feel more confident. The amount of ground that Daddy Longlegs can cover, and his ability to find a pass, his anticipation skills of toe poking the ball away from from other players. He does it twice in every game when there's a bouncing ball and he'll just get his foot up and poke it out of the way of the opposition. He's brilliant, and you know what I think that we haven't spoken about enough? Everyone talks naturally about the relationship between Romero and Mickey van der Ven, or Sonny and Kane back in the day, and now Sonny and Maddison. Relationships are important in life, but sometimes relationships go a little bit under the radar. And for me, Bissouma and Sarr's relationship is blossoming, and when Sarr is playing, Bissouma plays far, far more comfortably into a higher level. I know obviously you can point to the Luton mistake. I think Sarr was playing there. Bissouma didn't have a great game, that one. But generally speaking, I think Bissouma feels more comfortable having Sarr around him. I think it also makes Pedro Porro having the freedom to get forward and contribute and commit more, knowing that if he does get caught out, you've got Daddy Longlegs behind him. I think Brennan Johnson and Pedro Porro seem to have a better bit of chemistry going in there, and Pape Sarr hanging around and loitering with intent. It's all, little chemistry pockets that are emerging. And I don't want to get too far ahead of myself because, we're on the back of, it's our first win. We've got 4 points in 18. So I'm not going to throw the baby out with the bathwater and say everything's fine at Tottenham. It isn't. We're still volatile with our performances. But you know what it is? I think we're keeping teams at bay for the most part in possession. When Tottenham click and can turn that possession into chances, and then the last final piece of the puzzle is obviously converting those chances. And when it all clicks, Tottenham are unplayable, an unbelievable team to watch. And as you've seen Jamie Carragher talking about, asking questions, how much is a season ticket at Tottenham? It goes to show you how well received this football is, and why I hope you guys who criticised me last season for saying give me good football over pragmatic, boring stuff that might have a higher chance of winning a title, because this is why I want to watch football. I think the grounding, the foundation of your team, for me, should be enjoying what you're watching, because you go and see it twice a week for 8 months of the year, and you lift the trophy for 2 minutes, and it's not even you who puts a hand on the trophy, once every decade. And for me, I think that the foundation, the block, cornerstone of what Tottenham should always be doing is playing attractive football, and will tolerate the path, the rocky path to progress and to success a lot longer, as long as the football on display is satisfying. And in Ange, we've got someone who, for me, I'll hold his hand and walk with him over whatever path, however rocky, for the long time to come, because I see what we're trying to do, and you need everything to come together in order for it to be magnificent. And games like last night are what it's all about. Every single player was sensational. The subs that came on did their job. Jamie Donnelly got a few minutes. I think he could have got a few more minutes, if I'm entirely honest. The one niggle I would say is you're 3-0 up with 10 minutes to go, or 15 minutes to go. The game's pretty much done. Sonny maybe can have a breather. Bring on Jamie Donnelly. Give Sonny some well-deserved rest. Give him his round of applause, standing ovation, and let Donnelly run at some tired Newcastle legs, and let's see what he can do. He's still got 5 minutes, but I think he'll get some more maybe in a couple of weeks' time. We shall see. Nottingham Forest up next, guys. I'll be there with Henry, Friday night football. Can't wait. If we play like we played yesterday, we'll be able to take 3 more points and continue our quest for Champions League or European football for as long as it's relevant. A wonderful weekend of results for us. It takes the sting out of what happened on Thursday night and what's kind of happened in the last couple of weeks. But as I say, for me, onwards, upwards, very happy with the situation. And I'm very sorry, I've just realised I've been talking for 25 minutes. It's too long. I will let you go, guys. Like, subscribe and comment. Keep an eye out for a new show called 10 Minute Tottenham with Dave and myself later today. I think we're going to try it twice a week. Should be fun. Keep an eye out for that. Let me know your thoughts in the section below. Do you have any kind of takeaways, maybe things that I missed? And yeah, we'll see you again on the next one. Like, subscribe and comment, guys, and as always, bye bye.